I don't celebrate Christmas, it's pagan. I celebrate the Feast of Dedication.
Everybody go through things. We not perfect, so we not do the blame game thing. Know this trial's gonna come one day. I feel endure, adapt me and sing. Any function must clean, then step out, peel out, jump in a car, tire screech out. GPS it off, it put in the route. Dream team touch the scene, everybody scream out. Wait up, turn up the rise on the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we not carry grudge in our hand. We not carry grudge in our hand. DJ, turn up the rise on the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we not carry grudge in our hand. We not carry grudge in our hand.
Wake up, moon outside, it's a party. Hop up, dedication, it's a party. The can't destruction, it's a party. Too loud, too lit, move with the body. Bible with the pins in a black bag. Dance, 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 dance real fast. Zonovan book, yeah, I got that. Hold up, that's an Israelite starter pack. Passover dance with a staff in hand. Beat stage show for a contraband. Dancing like I'm trying to see the homeland.
Be strong in the Lord. It's what? It's what? It's what? It's what?
M'a dominé avec la vie vieille frère mio qu'a passé mal.
We have provisions, we have clothes to give them. They said, no, they have enough, we can't let you in, whatever. We also implied that we're going to teach, because we're a church group, we're going to teach to them. So they said, no, let nobody in. So what we're going to do, we got camp equipment, we're going to set out outside of the camp. We got, so that way we can be able to teach, and hopefully they can hear the words and flock to us to the gate. And we'll see how long we can do that before, I guess, they shut us down. So send up prayers for us, Lord's will.
Nous venons là, pour montrer nous-mêmes soi-disant haïtiens, nous pas haïtiens vraiment frères. Nous sommes pas Israël qui sortit notre peuple comme de Lévi. On a tous les deux passés, parce que depuis longtemps, les petits monde nous dit comme ça. Pour qui ça, peuple ça passe à misère comme ça. Pour qui ça devait me lever, pour qu'ils sont grands monde, pour que peuple passe à misère. Nous sommes comme un ami, nous venons là pour dire, pour montrer l'Israël. Parce que toute nation qui n'a pas de problème.
So Les was over the passing out the equipment and the merchandise, how that go?
It went well. They was real happy. They came up and they was applauding us. It was like the Israelites, you know what I mean? So all praise to the Most High. They know who we are, and we trying to get them to know who they are.
I'm going to show you and prove to you that the Israelites are black, were always black, always will be black.
See Nathaniel, yeah, he a prophet sent back to the earth, back to the earth. He sent you to wake up the people and tell them, come out of the church, come out of the church. Be ready for war, as soon as they run, get out of the dirt, out of the dirt. Ay. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Tuesday. Shout out what? Shout out what? Shout out what? Tuesday.
Got the juice, I ain't talking no bootleg. Cause we walk in the light of a new day. I can't listen to nothing a fool say. Thank the Lord that he showed us a new way.
Shout out what? Shout out what? Shout out what? Tuesday. Shout out what? Shout out what? Shout out what?
Shalom, brothers. Shalom, sisters. Bishop Nathaniel here. You know what day it is. Up. No, it's not Shout Out Tuesday. It's Impromptu Shout Out. Some of you may or may not know that YouTube banned our latest video on CBN's Ephraim Graham. Okay, they said, nope, you can't show that. Boop. So we uploaded it on IUIC TV. So if you downloaded the app, you can see it there. So this is a very impromptu shout out. I ain't calling it Shout Out Tuesday. I didn't collect the mail today, so don't expect no reading of the letters. I ain't got that. I ain't got no donations, none of that. So this is just to replace the one that was taken down by YouTube. All right. But as you know, I often love to cover a very small but important topic. So I'm going to show you a little bit of our history. Take notes, get your snacks, get your libations, whatever you do to relax you while you watching your TV or your cell phone, whatever, or your computer, whatever. All right. And I'll be right back with a commentary on who I'm going to discuss this day. All right. A textbook of the origin and history, etc., of the colored people, published in 1841 by James W.C. Pennington. All right, I'm going to page 96, and let's read along, please. A stronger case still is to be found in the fact that the descendants of a colony of Jews originally from Judea to the coast of Africa are black. So I don't want y'all to forget that. So, because I know some of you are Christians and you have not been taught this by your ministers. Your ministers have done no research in anything. Forget what they've said. I'm going to show you true history, our true history, in brief. The image of the black in Western art, from the pharaohs to the fall of the Roman Empire. All right, let's look at image 328. Plastic vase or vase, Negro head from Asia Minor. Now, Asia Minor is where the Apostle Paul went to teach the gospel. Asia Minor is where the 7 churches were located. It says 2nd or 3rd century AD. Here it is, number 328. Look at this vase, a Negro head. Now, why in Asia Minor, where the Greeks were at, do they have black heads as vases? Because the Israelites were there and were colonized. They were brought there as slaves and were colonized there. So when you read about the 7 churches of Asia Minor, like Corinth, Philadelphia, Sardis, places like that, and right across there you had, I said Corinth already, you had Philippi. These were all Israelites that the Apostle Paul was going to. A statue of a young black carrying a situla from Aphrodisias Imperial Baths, located in Paris. What's that, I-10? So this is a brother I'm about to show you from Aphrodisias. He's a bathroom attendant. Okay. Now let's take a look and see what the editors put about this picture. One of the finest of these figures is a statue of a young black from one of the imperial baths in Aphrodisias, figure I-10. Now, I told y'all these baths, these were like where men and women got together and orgies and things took place. And they had our people, the Israelites, in these as bathroom attendants. This sculpture, about 1 meter high, shows a young black carrying a situla. His upper right chest is left bare by a tunic that falls over his left shoulder, is gathered by a cord around his waist, and falls in folds that model the curvature of his legs in an extraordinarily sensuous manner, apparently focusing... The hell? All right. Whether in allusion to the alleged macrophallic character of black, macrophallic means large penis, character of blacks discussed above or more subtle from eroticism. These figures are often classed as being objective and sympathetic representations. All right. A macrophallic Negro is seen in a mosaic at the entrance of the caldarium of the house of the Menander. He wears a wreath of leaves and carries an ascos in each hand. Picture 284. 284. There's the wreath of leaves and the ascos he's holding in each hand. These were Israelite bath attendants in around 70 AD. And as a bath attendant, not only was you a slave, you had to have sex with whoever called you, whether male or female. All right, we're going to look at picture 347. It says, we may mention the slave of the baths of Timgad, whose natural endowments are superb. Picture 347. Picture 347. Let's pull back. So they had Israelites as their bath attendants, and in these baths, we were slaves to whoever we had to have sex with them and all kind of things. So that's why if you ever notice the Apostle Paul dealt with a lot of immorality questions regarding sexuality. Like he dealt with fornication a lot, letters about fornication, adultery, stuff like that. All stems from this time period, around this time period. The image of the black in Western art, from the pharaohs to the fall of the Roman Empire. Edited by David Byman and Henry Louis Gates Jr. I told you before, David Byman he's a racist piece of turd. And Henry Louis Gates Jr. must be asleep when this guy is putting his notes into the book. Remember last week I showed y'all this coinage. Okay, that's 271. All right. 271, Etruscan coins, obverse, head of black Mahout. When you look up that word Mahout, it is an elephant rider or servant of an elephant rider. Okay? On the reverse side is an elephant. They never give it a name. And I told y'all last week that this is or was Hannibal. This was Hannibal. And he was well known, he was famous for taking war elephants across the Alps to take Italy during the Punic Wars, all right? And there's a Hebrew character right there, Hebrew letter, ancient Hebrew letter. So now, I'm going to go into another book to show you who this brother is. Who is this brother on this coin? And like I said before, who puts the image of a slave or a servant or an elephant rider on a coin? Huh? Without having done some monumental feat that you became famous for. Let's go into this other book. All right. African presence in early Europe. Editor Ivan van Sertima. All right. I'm going to page 138, where you have the same coins that I showed you before. He has them drawn out. See the Hebrew character there? Okay. As a matter of fact, all right, just put it beside. There's the coins, the actual photos of the coins. Now, this author has drawings. All right. Let's go over. I'm on page 139. I'm going to start here at yet. Yet Snowden claims that these are representations of some of Hannibal's mahouts, elephant riders, while other Africanist historians claim this is Hannibal himself. The Carthaginians rarely used coins or statue or stele to depict a figure not in the pantheon of gods or in the aristocratic hierarchy, and would deny a figure's centrality or prominence to indicate its comparatively lower social plane of stature. We would therefore like to know which European speculator started this story about these coins representing mahouts. You see that? So even this author knows that this is Hannibal himself. Hannibal. The Christian soldier. Saint Maurice of Aganeum. Today in Western Europe, this African is the principal saint in parts of France, in Switzerland, Italy, Savoy, and Spain. Laurenburg, Krakow, and Coburg have him as their title patron. He is on a coat of arms of these royal houses. Let's jump down here. The highest civilian medal of Italy, called the Sardinian Order of St. Maurice, is named after him. All right, let me just go down here. Maurice, the African Roman general, and all of his 6,000 men were black and Christian. He was ordered to a place called Aganeum, which was in present-day Switzerland. His orders from Roman Emperor Maximian was to put down a rebellion. There was nothing unusual about this assignment, since Europe or Gaul had been a concern of Rome occupational government for 3 centuries. The confusion arose after Maurice arrived. He found the rebels to be Christians who were objecting to Emperor Maximian's persecution of their fellow Christians. Maurice sent a message to the emperor saying he would not fight or kill these Christian rebels. As punishment for his refusal to fight and kill the Christians as ordered, Emperor Maximian brought another army to Aganeum and killed all of the soldiers except the very few who escaped. Maurice was killed on the spot. All right, let's go. Start right here. In the 14th and 15th century, so this is the 1300s and the 1400s, Judeberg received a certain number of new monuments. Among them, the Church of St. Nicholas, in which St. Maurice was particularly favored. If we judge by the fragments of the altarpiece, we're going to take a look at this altarpiece, executed around 1425. So this altarpiece we're going to look at was made in 1425 for the former high altar. The statue in polychrome wood shows us an already familiar type of Maurice with woolly hair. Remember, Christ had woolly hair. With woolly hair and thick lips. The painted panels now set up as an enclosure for the choir give us more significant information. Here, for the first time, we have a pictorial sequence that places the exotic Theban, referring to St. Maurice, among the numerous saints whose lives have been the subject of narrative cycles in art. It was logical to suppose that the baptism of a personage so firm in his faith must itself have been extraordinary, and it was tempting to paint that event, although no text related it. This is the old theme in the Aethiops, resurgent after a long progress that lies outside the scope of the present inquiry. Here, watch this. The refusal to renounce the faith, meaning renounce the faith of Black Christ and sacrifice to the gods of pagan Rome, is another frequent topic. As they are in many similar 15th century works, the pagan gods are symbolized here by grotesque devil with bat's wings. The hero's refusal leads to his beheading. That's what we just read about when the Emperor Maximian had him put to death. The hero's refusal leads to his beheading in the presence of the emperor, Emperor Maximian. It is important for us to emphasize that Maurice is brought before the emperor 3 times and that the emperor is a negative personage, treated here in an obvious, unfriendly way. Let's take a look at image 140, shall we? All right, here we go. So there's St. Maurice. Let me pull back first so I can see the whole thing. All right, St. Maurice, this is Emperor Maximian. He wants him to renounce the Black Messiah. And they say devil, but I believe, what year was this? Yeah, okay, this is still Antichrist time. Antichrist, I'll just word it like that. Okay. This is when he was baptized. This is when he was brought before the emperor several times. And this is when the emperor had him beheaded, put to death, for refusing to carry out the emperor's ungodly order of murdering his fellow Black Christians that followed the Black Messiah. All right, let's take a look at 132 and 133. Do y'all see that? Now, let's see who David Bindman says image 132 and 133 are. 132, St. Maurice. 133, St. Maurice. Everybody's St. Maurice. When you go through this book, David Bindman puts every Black person as St. Maurice. So let me see who this guy is. Picture 126. Oh, look, statue of St. Maurice. 114 through 116, statue of St. Maurice. 1240 to 1250. Do y'all see St. Maurice in armor, chainmail on his head, covering his woolly hair? Notice the nose, the thick lips, the very, very dark skin, black. Armor. Here's a side view. See, a lot of y'all thought Christianity came up much, much later for Black people. All the prophets were Black. All the Christians, the original Christians and Jews, were all Black. That's what you're looking at. All right. Picture 146. St. Maurice, statue from a niche in the central panel of the altarpiece, 1480 to 1490. Now, what I want y'all to take a look at now, I'm going to go over. Here's an altarpiece. It's in black and white, though. I want y'all to see Caesar Borgia right there. Do y'all see that? Caesar Borgia. Now let's take a look at this. I want y'all to look at these three fellows right here, black. Notice that they're black. You got three white women over here. Caesar Borgia in the middle. Three black guys here. And this is picture 145. Altarpiece of the high altar, wings closed, late 15th and early 16th century. So this is from the 1400s. Remember, it was the 1400s when this was introduced, the white Jesus. But my focus now are these three guys right here. Okay, now we got it in color. These are the same three brothers in color. I want you to see how they're dressed. These are not slaves. This is picture 153. Let's see. Jenna von whatever. Three companions of Saint Maurice. Interior of the first wing on the right of the altarpiece of the high altar, dated 1511. So these are three companions, three friends of Saint Maurice. Let's get some more. 156, statue of Saint Maurice. Cape and armor. Look at his face. Look at the lips. Look at the nose. This is a black man, not a slave. This was a general in the military. 157, Saint Maurice and his companions. I want y'all to see all of these black men here. There's Saint Maurice there, and look at all his companions. Remember, he was over 6,000 black Christian soldiers. Look in the background. Black. Do y'all see that? So don't let people fool you into believing we were not Christians. We were Christians. Okay, we were in the military. And I want y'all to see how he's dressed also. He has the shield with a coat of arms with a black man's face on it, armor, cape. That's picture 137. 137, statue of Saint Maurice. All right, let's watch this. When our research has been carried a good deal further, we shall have to look closely into the attitudes of the people of the 13th and later centuries towards blacks and Muslims. I want y'all to notice how he has it worded. Blacks and Muslims, as if no black was a Muslim. But it seems like he's making a distinction here between blacks and Muslims. Let's find out why. Blacks and Muslims who had accepted Christianity. At present, we do not know enough to come to a conclusion. At any rate, the baptism theme spread after 1250 in Aragon, as well as in Castile. An Aragonese fuero statue issued in the second half of the 13th century indicates the will to facilitate such conversion. Baptism, and with it, the social and moral rights attaching to it, was to be granted to any Jew or Muslim, who sincerely desired to convert to Christianity. Notice here he says Jew or Muslim here, but just above he got blacks and Muslims. Do y'all see that? Can you catch on to that? Can you dig it? Blacks and Muslims, Jew or Muslim. Letting you know that the Jew is the blacks. Now this whole process is called making us conversos. when they forced us to convert to Christianity. Now let's see what it means by who sincerely desired to convert to Christianity. Ain't nobody got time for that. Let's go. What? This is 52, image 52. Does it look like they have a sincere desire to become Christian? You see this guy got a sword behind my man's head right here, and the king got a sword in front of him. This don't look like sincere conversion. This looks like forced. That's where they got the term converso. You can look it up. Then they baptized us. We became the type of Christian they wanted us to be, the kind that did not keep any commandment, the immoral kind, the kind of today. The most astonishing of these pictured strips from here has a very different bearing. It gives us a new example of the black slave, christened servitor in the text. This is the illustration of Cantiga, 186 in 6 scenes. We give here a translation of the legends that appear under each of the scenes. This is what the picture I'm about to show you is about. How a lady was asleep and her mother-in-law sent one of her Moors, one of her blacks, to dally with her. Y'all can look that word dally up. It deals with sex. Sleep around with her. How the old mother showed her son how his wife was bedded. How they went to call upon the justice and surprised the two of them sleeping. How the justice took the lady and the Moor and led them away to be burnt. How the traitorous Moor was burnt and Our Lady protected the lady whom the fire did not touch. That's this lady with the big O and capital O and capital L is supposed to be Mary. Protected the lady whom the fire did not touch. How the lady told of her mother-in-law's deception, and all were loud in their praise of Our Lady. Let's look at this scene. All right, here we go. Let me see if I could get in close. All right, there's the white woman sleeping. There's the mother-in-law, and there's her Moor. This Moor was her servant, her slave. Now remember, this is all a chess move to get them out of Spain. All right, so here we are. You have the lady sleeping. The mother-in-law calls her servant, this Moor here. Then the mother-in-law calls her son, the son-in-law, the husband of the wife, and shows them sleeping in bed together. Then they call the justices. These were the justices, and they wake them up. All right, the mother-in-law is accusing her Moor of having what they call it, miscegenation, interracial relations. All right. They take the Moor away. They tie him up, carry him away. They bring her the adulterous woman out too. Then they set the Moor on fire, but the white woman was spared torment by Our Lady, the ever virgin. You're right. And they stood around and mocked the black man being burned alive. Then the woman is set free. Mary's there with little baby Caesar Borgia. You can't make this stuff up. But all of this was chess moves to getting the Moors out. And as you know, in 1492, under Nicholas V, they set up the Papal Bull where they had us go into the transatlantic slave trade. And this is no different than what you see being done in the 60s when they burnt us alive. All right. So today's impromptu shout out goes to Pastor Perry Stone. That's right, lying Pastor Perry Stone. This dude can lie. I want y'all to watch this dude try to justify Christmas, and I want you to listen very carefully for the scriptural references he goes to. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a listen. Try not to laugh now. Here we go.
Well, thank you for joining me today. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a different type of YouTube mini message. And you see the title over here, Stop Bashing Christmas. Now, let me just sort of give you an introduction that when we come to the month of December, sometimes Hanukkah begins the end of November, but there are two celebrations that different groups of people participate in. To Messianic Jewish believers, to Jewish people who are devout Jewish people, and also just sometimes for individuals that are what we would call Gentile Christians, they take a time called Hanukkah. And I have a lot of Messianic and Jewish friends that celebrate Hanukkah. It is the festival of lights. I won't take time to go into it here because that's not what the teaching is about. But it's a really wonderful traditional celebration. It is not a Torah observant celebration, meaning it's not found in the 5 books of Moses, such as the 7 festivals of Israel or the Sabbaths or new moons. But it is an intertestament occasion that Jews memorialize when the Maccabees cleansed the temple and there was not enough oil to light the menorah, but the oil supernaturally multiplied for a period of time. And of course, it is called Feast of Dedication in John chapter 10, verse 22, which means that it is mentioned in the New Testament, and Jesus was in Jerusalem celebrating that time. Now, for other people, and this would actually be the majority of other people, they celebrate something called Christmas or Christ Mass, and it's known as Christmas, which is the 25th of December. The reason I'm sharing this with you is I get concerned that this day called Christmas, which is the day that really the entire world understands that it is geared toward the person of Jesus Christ and his birth in Bethlehem. And yet I see Christians who constantly want to bash the only day in the entire year that Jesus gets any recognition whatsoever. So for a moment, I want to address that. Now, one of the reasons that people will say you should not be involved with December 25th Christmas is because it is a pagan holiday dedicated to the sun god. Well, I've heard that argument for a long, long time. But if you've noticed, atheists, agnostics, and pagans have nothing to do with the day. Who are the people celebrating this time? Well, of course, it's some people that just want to get gifts and have a good time. We know that. But by and large, it's people around the world who are Christian people who are honoring the time that Christ was sent to earth. So the argument of it just being a pagan thing doesn't stand in the light of the fact that pagans aren't even involved with it or celebrating it, at least in our day and time. The second thing I often hear is Jesus was not born on December 25th, so why should we even celebrate somebody's birthday when they weren't born then? Well, let me backtrack for you, and this can be proven. You know, Christ was likely born from the time of either the trumpets, the Fall Festival of Trumpets, or the Festival of Tabernacles. I think that most people who are scholars can agree with that. However, if we go back 9 months, what is interesting is you can actually come to the conception of Jesus as being on Hanukkah somewhere between December 23rd and December 25th. So therefore, if he was not born in Bethlehem on December 25th, he was very likely and possibly conceived around, oddly enough, December 25th. So if you don't want to celebrate the birth of Jesus because you believe the day is wrong and it was in the fall, Then honor his conception. Let's just say we're celebrating the time that the angel Gabriel came to Mary and dropped the seed of God's word in her womb. Another argument that I often hear is people trying to trace back all the traditions as being something bad or something evil. Now, let me make something very clear, and I want you to hear me. There are three things that we as believers deal with. We have to deal with sin, but then there's also customs, and there's also traditions. Sin is sin, and sin is laid out very clearly in the New Testament. However, there are customs, and you'll read the Bible where it said, according to the customs of the Jews, Paul went to Jerusalem. Or according to the customs of the Jews, Paul went to the festival. So there are some things that are customary. That is, that they're handed down from generation to generation, or they're honored yearly, or whatever the case may be. Now, there are other things that are traditions. There are what are called traditions of men. Now, there's nothing wrong with certain traditions as long as they make the Word of God of none effect. And what I mean by that is simply this. If you want to take everything that people do in taking the Christmas season, whether it's putting something on their door or putting up a tree or giving gifts to people, however people choose to do it, then we have to understand it is custom and it's all tradition. Everything about it is based on tradition. Now, does that make it right or wrong? Absolutely not, because I said traditions are only traditions and customs are only customs, and there are things that are handed down for generations. I'll give you an example. We've never taught our children that there's a man in a red suit called Santa Claus who comes down the chimney, because there's not a man in a red suit that comes down the chimney. Now, if kids see this, that might offend some of them, but that's just facts. But they know the gifts come from mom and dad or grandmother and granddaddy, and we keep it that way. And I want to go back and just say this to you, and this is the reason I'm going to ask you, as Christians, just stick with what you believe, honor what you honor, but quit bashing the only day that Jesus gets recognition. Here's something else. Why is some of the highest giving in the past at this season of the year? Why are people's hearts open to give to the Red Cross, to give to the Salvation Army? We give to poor kids where they can get gifts at Walmart. Right now while I'm taping this, my wife is wrapping hundreds of presents for the Boys and Girls Club, for poor children that don't get anything. And these kids are going to get little gifts from Christian people who love them. And it's going to be done in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Lies, 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 lies and more lies. Let's go into this book and check out what the ancient or older writers said about Christmas. All right. We're going to go inside this book entitled The Two Babylons, or the Papal Worship, by the late Reverend Alexander Hislop, to discuss this holiday called Christmas. Page 93. I'm going to concentrate on the highlighted areas. December the 25th as Christmas Day. A festival was celebrated among the heathen at that precise time of the year in honor of the birth of the son of the Babylonian queen of heaven. And it may fairly be presumed that in order to conciliate the heathen and to swell the number of the nominal adherents of Christianity, the same festival was adopted by the Roman Church, giving it only the name of Christ. Let's jump down to the next paragraph. Highlighted that Christmas was originally a pagan festival is beyond all doubt. The time of the year and the ceremonies with which it is still celebrated prove its origin. In Egypt, the son of Isis, the Egyptian title for the Queen of Heaven, was born at this very time, about the time of the winter solstice, the very name by which Christmas is popularly known among ourselves, Yule Day, proves at once its pagan and Babylonian origin. Yule is the Chaldean name for an infant or little child. Page 98. The divine child born at the winter solstice was born as a new incarnation of the great God, talking about Nimrod. After that God had been cut in pieces, Nimrod was killed on purpose to revenge his death upon his murders. Now the great God, cut off in the midst of his power and glory, was symbolized as a huge tree, stripped of all its branches and cut down almost to the ground. Next highlighted paragraph. The Christmas tree, as has been stated, was generally at Rome a different tree, even the fir. But this very same idea as was implied in the palm tree was implied in the Christmas fir, for that covertly symbolized the newborn god as Baal Berith. Next highlight area. Therefore, the 25th of December, the day that was observed at Rome as the day when the victorious God reappeared on earth, was held at the Natalis Invicti Solis, the birthday of the unconquered sun. Now the Yule log is the dead stock of Nimrod, deified as the sun god, but cut down by his enemies. The Christmas tree is Nimrod redivivus, the slain god come to life again. Hey, also, did anybody notice that lying Pastor Perry Stone did not pull any Bible references, not one scripture? Well, let's see why. Let's go into the Bible in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10. We're going to read down 1 through 4, possibly 5 maybe. Verse 1, hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Verse 2, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen. Remember, the Israelites were going into the Babylonian captivity around 606 BC. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So don't worry about shooting stars, comets, blood moons, solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. Don't worry about none of those things. Verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain. The word vain means lies. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. Now you got to ask yourself, what holiday is this making reference to where people go into a forest and cut down a tree? Verse 4, they deck it with silver and with gold. Now, if you didn't notice it's talking about the daggone Christmas tree, you'd stupid as hell. So they cut down a tree, then they deck it with silver and gold. Like today, you get your daggone tree and you decorate it with silver and gold. That's what deck means, to decorate. It says they fastened it with nails and with hammers that it move not. Back then, they used to fasten the tree down with nails and hammers. Today, you just buy a daggone tree stand. What's the difference? It's the same lying custom. Okay. Verse 5, they are upright as the palm tree, because back in ancient Babylon, they used the palm tree. Today, they use an evergreen tree. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. Why does it say, but speak not? Because there was a tradition of men of Babylon that the spirit of Nimrod would enter into the tree. They must needs be born. That means carried, because they cannot go. They can't walk on their own. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. Why is that important for this stupid holiday? Because they got a song where they say regarding Santa Claus, Saint Nick. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better not shout. Y'all know the damn song. You know the song. That's the crap they do on Christmas. Now they substitute that with Jesus. Stop following this false holiday. And yes, we're going to bash Christmas because it's a demonic pagan holiday.
It is Wednesday, December 8th, 2021. Normally during the Christmas season, we start the program by showing an outside shot of our all-American Christmas tree on Fox Square. But last night, shortly after midnight, somebody climbed up in the tree and lit it on fire. It's beginning to look a lot like arson. Right now, there is somebody who is in custody and is being interviewed by local police.
Who sets a Christmas tree on fire?
Who sets a Christmas tree?
Well, I mean, it's just part of the rampant. No city is safe. No person is safe from the subway on down. Here you are at 48th and 6th, right in Midtown Manhattan. It has become a tourist attraction. Every year it gets more and more people. And just one psycho goes up, ignites this thing. Thank goodness we have very excellent security. Within 2 seconds, he was tackled to the ground. He was subdued. And then they find out that he's under arrest right now. Massive investigations through the night. It took place just after midnight last night. Shannon Bream Show was covering it from Washington, D.C.
So sad. We have security tape around the tree right now when you walk in. No more music, no more tree.
Yeah, I think it's
infuriating.
I think it tells the bigger story. I mean, since this city is so out of control, especially in Midtown Manhattan. Yesterday
the city we used to love.
Right, but yesterday we're covering stories about raids in Pacific Palisades and Beverly Hills, California, and then in 48th and 6th, this is a tourist attraction from around the globe, and they sit there and this one lunatic is able to penetrate in, and in a matter of seconds, ignite that tree on fire. Thank goodness there's not other structures around it, but our whole lobby was full of smoke, evidently.
But think about it. Who, to Ainsley's earlier point, who sets a Christmas tree on fire?
It's a tree that unites us, that brings us together. It's about the Christmas spirit. It is about the holiday season. It's about Jesus. It's about Hanukkah. It is about everything that we stand for as a country. Freedom and being able to worship the way that you want to worship. It makes me so mad.
All right. You saw it for yourself. You saw it for yourself. Now, I want to open up with Galatians chapter 1 and verse 7. Because these lying pastors, these lying Christians, whether they call themselves Protestants or Catholics, they all the same. Lie, lie, lie. Now, you see, if they lie against God, how much more will they lie against God's people? Us, the true 12 tribes. All right, let's go to Galatians chapter 1 and verse 7. It reads, no, I'll start at 6. I marvel that you are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ unto another gospel. Okay, which is not another, but there be some that trouble you and would pervert the gospel of Christ. It is a perversion to say that Christ was conceived or born December the 25th with no scriptures to back you up. None whatsoever. None. Now, how can I forget this? He spoke about Hanukkah, which in English is dedication, Feast of Dedication. He said that about some oil. There was a little bit of oil and it lasted for 9 days. That is a lie. Okay, big lie. All right. When you go to 1 Maccabees chapter 4, please, everybody go there. 1 Maccabees chapter 4, and if you don't have the Apocrypha, you can just Google 1 Maccabees chapter 4, and I'm going to start at verse 47. It reads, Then they took whole stones according to the law and built a new altar according to the former, and made up the sanctuary and the things that were within the temple and hallowed the courts. They made also new holy vessels. Now, this is the rededication of the temple. The temple had been defiled by the Greeks, the white man. They had fought the Greeks off, and they were rededicating it to the Lord, the altar. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick, that's the 7-branch menorah, and the altar of burnt offerings, and of incense, and the table. And upon the altar they burned incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted, that they might give light in the temple. This shows that there was oil. There's no, see, the lying Jewish fable is that there was just a little bit of oil and it lasted for 9 days. So therefore we created the 9-branch menorah. That's not in the scriptures at all. That is not in the Hebrew scriptures at all, you lying bunch of people. This is why I always say, brothers and sisters, if these people will lie against God, they will lie against his word. How much more will they lie against us? Okay? So, I just definitely wanted to cover that. I almost forgot it for a second. Let's go to 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 16. It reads, "For we have not followed cunningly devised fables." Christmas is a cunningly devised fable. They will make you think the Son of God was born December 25th. They will make you think Christmas, a daggone Christmas tree with some damn bulbs has something to do with the birth of Christ. It's a cunningly devised fable. Let's read it again. "For we have not followed cunningly devised fables when we made known unto you the power and coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, but were eyewitnesses of his majesty." You see that? So now, from there, let's go to Titus chapter 1, and let's start at verse 10. Why you getting on Perry Stone? Why you always getting on the Christians? Because these Christians lie. All they do is lie. Christian Protestants, Christian Catholics, Christian apologetics, they lie, lie, lie. And especially the black ones that follow these white ones. Woo! Titus chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 10. It reads, "For there are many unruly and vain talkers." Vain goes into the word lie. Lying talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. Verse 11, "Whose mouths must be stopped." See, that's what Shout Out Tuesday and all these classes are all about. Stopping the mouths of these liars. Verse 11 again, "Whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake." See, let's go through that. Whose mouths must be stopped. This is why we get on them. Who subvert whole houses. They got whole houses celebrating the birth of Christ on December the 25th. They got whole houses believing Christ was a Caucasian man with pink, red skin and yellow hair and blue eyes. Are you kidding me? They got whole house. They have subverted whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, because it's not in the scriptures. That's why they ought not teach it. It ain't biblical. For filthy lucre's sake. What is filthy lucre? Money gained by ill-gotten means. Lies. It's filthy lucre because they get lucre's money. Why is it filthy? Because they get it by lying. Lying on God, lying on his people. Okay? That's what they do. Verse 12 now. "One of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said, the Cretians, the Christians, the Cretians are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies," meaning slow-minded. Verse 13, "This witness is true," Paul says, "this witness is true. Wherefore rebuke them sharply," and that's what we do, especially you black ones, that they may be sound in the faith. If you black Christians, you follow these white lying Edomites, these lying Christian evangelists, we are rebuking you too sharply so that you can be sound in the faith. Verse 14, "Not giving heed to Jewish fables." Christmas is a Jewish fable. It's a lie. It's a cunningly devised lie. Verse 14 again, "Not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men that turn from the truth." See, Christmas is after the commandments of men, from ancient Babylon all the way now to the United States of America and its European allies. Okay? And Christmas causes our people to turn from the truth, to turn from God's laws. That's what the truth is. Let's prove that, to turn from the truth. Psalms 119. Let me get that. Psalms 119, verse 142 reads, Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. You see that right there? Thy law is the truth. Highlight that, please. Thy law is the truth. See that? So now let's go right on back. Now that we got the thought about what the truth is, now that we know what the truth is, let's go on back. Y'all bear with me. Let me just find Titus. Somebody help me find Titus. Titus chapter 1, verse 14. Not giving heed to Jewish fables. Like I said, Christmas is a Jewish fable. New Year's Eve is a Jewish fable. It says, and commandments of men. Which men do these Jewish fables come from primarily today? The white men that turn from the truth. They turn you from God's commandments. That's why it's wrong. God got 52 Sabbaths in a year, right? 12 new moons, 12 holidays, okay? And other holidays like Hanukkah, which is the Feast of Dedication, recorded in John 10, verse 22, and Purim, recorded in the book of Esther. But you know what? These lying demonic Christians go, no, we don't want nothing God says. We're going to borrow a holiday from ancient Babylon. We're going to set up a crusty old Christmas tree, call it a Christmas tree, deck it with silver and gold tinsels, and tell you that's the birth of Jesus. And if it ain't his birth, he was conceived on that day. You see the lies they do? Then they're going to cry. My wife gives food to the homeless. Gifts. Are you kidding me? I almost fell off the bed laughing so hard at that crap. You gots to be kidding me. And here you black women that fall for that, shame on you. You better laugh. You better kick the dust up and laugh. The hell is this? So, listen, I also want to show you what they do. This new international version Bibles. I need y'all to just bear with me a second if I can just find it. Okay. They have these new Bibles, NIV, that the Christian apologetics like to run around and use, and they follow different Israelite camps around. And they look for black people that are unlearned about the Bible and about the history of what white folks have done. So I want you to take a look at this. You can Google this guy, Dr. Richard Day, D-A-Y, Bible corruption in 1969. A lot of things happened in 1969, from the moon landing to the truth of the Israelites busting out on the scenes. Now let's read this. Pay close attention. This is regarding what these white folks have done to the Bible. Dr. Richard Day, 1927 to 1989, was a professor of pediatrics, the University of Pittsburgh and Mount Sinai Medical School in New York, and National Medical Director of Planned Parenthood, 1965 to 1968. Remember, Planned Parenthood was set up by Margaret Sanger. Okay, it was about the killing of black children, destruction, the murdering of black children. We've gone over that in many lessons before. And they said, use the black ministers to deceive these dumb black women to kill their babies. And they've done a I don't want to say the word wonderful, but that's the only thing that pops to mind in terms of Satan. They've done a wonderful job in getting black women to kill black babies to prevent the coming of a black Messiah. Too late. He came and rose already. All right, let me read on. Y'all know I get easily distracted. Sorry. Planned Parenthood, National Medical Director of Planned Parenthood, 1965 to 1968, which is funded by the government, the Rockefeller Foundation since its inception in 1921, and private donors. Dr. Lawrence Dunigan, 1923 to 2004, was practicing pediatrician in Mount Lebanon, PA, for over 30 years. The following is quoted from his recollections of a lecture he attended on March 20th, 1969, at a meeting of pediatricians. Pay close attention. The transcribed document titled New World Order, NWO, Plans Exposed by Insider. New World Order Plans Exposed by Insider in 1969 outlines the complete destruction of the world based on the New World System. 1. Now let's read this. I want y'all to pay close attention to the highlighted areas. Listen, and read along with me. In order to do this, the Bible will be changed. See, in order to establish a new world order, it says the Bible will be changed. It will be rewritten to fit the new religion. I've been telling y'all about this new religion that's coming. I've been telling y'all. Gradually, look at the word gradually. Key words will be replaced with new words having various shades of meanings. So I'm going to give you an example. Listen to these dumb apologetics when they go to the NIV version and they'll read Deuteronomy 28:68. You know the bottom part where it says no man will buy you, no man shall buy you, which means no one shall redeem you. It says in the NIV, you shall attempt to sell yourselves, but no one will buy you. See, that's what they've done with these new Bibles. That's why we tell you, get the KJV. Let's read on though. Then the meaning attached to the new word can be close to the old word. And as time goes on, other shades of meaning of that word can be emphasized, and then gradually that word replaced with another word. You see that? I don't know if I'm making that clear, but the idea is that everything in Scripture need not be rewritten. Just key words replaced by other words. The variability in meaning attached to any word can be used as a tool to change the entire meaning of Scripture and therefore make it acceptable to this new religion. Most people won't know the difference. Talking about black people, most people won't know the difference. And this was another one of the times where he said, the few who do notice the difference won't be enough to matter. You see that? Do y'all see that? This is why don't play games with these black Christian apologetics. When people come with the NIV, dismiss them. Dismiss them quickly. All right? Because I know the black ones are not aware of this, but the white ones are. Those white Christians, whether they're apologetics, Catholics or Protestants, they are fully aware of what I am sharing with you, brothers and sisters. Okay? Whoa, you can't make this stuff up. All right. Now, this is why I read Galatians chapter 1, verse 7. You might have not, I'll start at 6 and 7 again. I'm going to just reread it. I marvel that ye are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ unto another gospel. So right now you have a small group of our people who have left this truth and gone back to the filth of Christianity. You'll see one or two of them on TikTok, on Instagram, YouTube, talking about, I used to be an Israelite. That's like saying, I used to be black. I used to be, or let me say it this way even better. I used to be Chinese. Your race is your race. Your race is your race. You can't undo that. So you mean you went from being Israel to a nigger or a spick? Is that what you're saying? Let's read that again. Galatians 1, verse 6. I marvel that ye are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ unto another gospel, which is not another. What does it mean, which is not another? Because they use the Bible. The issue is they have rewritten certain keywords in the Bible now. Let's read verse 7 again. Which is not another, but there be some that trouble you. This is that white man and his black followers, and would pervert the gospel of Christ. See, they have perverted the gospel of Christ. They want to emphasize that he was either born or conceived on December the 25th, conceived of an ever virgin with pink red skin, Caucasian, with blue eyes and blonde hair. Or else you'll hear them cleverly try to deceive you and say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he looks like. Well, if it doesn't matter what he looks like, then why'd you change his image? And let me tell you, brothers and sisters, something. If they lied about his image, they lied about his truth, his teachings. All right? So with that, brothers, sisters, I'm going to call it a day. I pray you glean something out of this little impromptu shout out. Most High in Christ bless you all. Love you all. Shalom.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.